Imagine waking up to a world where the ground beneath your feet is no longer safe and the oceans you once feared now decide your future. Imagine cities trembling not from earthquakes but from something far more terrifying, a final confrontation that has been building for generations. This is not a warning from the future, this is the final season of the war between land and sea, and today on Watchdog TV we are diving deep into how it all ends. Stay with me because what you are about to hear will completely change the way you see this story. Before we go any further, if you enjoy deep storytelling, powerful narratives and intense breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe to Watchdog TV, like this video, comment your thoughts and share it with someone who loves epic stories, because this final season is something you do not want to experience alone. For centuries, land and sea have existed in an uneasy balance. Humans built empires on solid ground, believing the oceans were simply borders, highways for trade and endless sources of food. But beneath the waves another civilization was watching, learning and preparing. The early seasons showed us hints of this ancient rivalry, storms that seemed too intelligent, coastlines that shifted overnight, and creatures rising from the deep only to vanish again. By the time the final season begins, there is no more pretending. The sea has had enough of being exploited, polluted and ignored. The land has grown arrogant, expanding cities, drilling deeper and pushing further into waters that were never meant to be conquered. The final season opens with silence. No music, no explosions, just calm oceans and crowded cities going about their daily lives, unaware that everything is about to change. That silence is intentional because it represents the last breath before the storm. Scientists notice strange readings, sea levels dropping rapidly in some regions while rising violently in others. Naval fleets lose contact with entire coastlines. Fishermen report seeing massive shadows moving beneath their boats, shadows larger than anything ever recorded. Governments try to reassure the public, but panic spreads faster than truth. At the heart of this final season is the realization that the war is not just physical, it is ideological. The land believes dominance comes from control, technology and expansion. The sea believes dominance comes from balance, memory and patience. This clash of beliefs is what makes the conflict so powerful. The sea does not attack immediately. Instead, it isolates. Shipping routes collapse. Undersea cables are severed, cutting off communication between continents. Islands disappear overnight, swallowed by the ocean as if erased from history. Land-based nations begin to turn on each other, fighting over resources now more scarce than ever. One of the most gripping storylines in the final season is the human response to losing control. Leaders who once spoke with confidence now whisper behind closed doors. Military strategies that worked against human enemies fail completely against an opponent that can strike from any direction without warning. Missiles vanish into the depths. Submarines never return. Coastal megacities are evacuated not because they are destroyed but because they are no longer defensible. The sea does not need to invade the land, it only needs to remind humanity how fragile its foundations really are. But the final season is not just about destruction. It is also about revelation. Ancient myths once dismissed as folklore suddenly make sense. Stories of sea gods, guardians and underwater kingdoms resurface not as fantasy but as distorted memories of past encounters. Archaeologists uncover ruins beneath the ocean floor, proving that this war has happened before and that humanity survived only by making a choice it has long forgotten. This discovery becomes the emotional core of the season, forcing characters and viewers alike to ask a terrifying question: did we win the last time or were we spared? As the conflict escalates, new characters emerge, bridging the gap between land and sea. Scientists who have spent their lives studying marine biology realize the ocean is communicating not through language but through action. Tides, storms and migrations form patterns, messages that can be interpreted if one knows how to listen. On the other side, factions within the sea question whether total annihilation of land life is truly justice or simply another form of imbalance. This internal struggle adds depth to the final season, showing that even an ancient power is not united in its vision. One of the most intense moments comes when the sea finally speaks, not with words but with a single global event. Every coastline in the world experiences the same phenomenon at the same time. The water pulls back farther than ever recorded, revealing the ocean floor and everything humanity has thrown away over centuries: ships, weapons, waste and bones. For a brief moment the world sees the true cost of its actions. Then the water returns, not as a wave but as a wall. The message is clear: remember what you have done and understand what you are facing. Throughout the final season, Watchdog TV style storytelling shines in moments of quiet reflection. A child asking why the ocean is angry. An old sailor admitting he always knew this day would come. A scientist breaking down in tears realizing the data she spent her life collecting was a warning no one wanted to hear. These moments ground the epic scale of the war in raw human emotion, making the final season not just a spectacle but a deeply personal story. As the end approaches, the possibility of peace emerges not through victory but through surrender of ego. Humanity must decide whether survival is worth changing its way of life. The sea does not demand worship or obedience, it demands respect, balance, and restraint. This ultimatum divides the world. Some see it as extinction of progress, others see it as the only path forward. The tension reaches its peak when a final coordinated strike is planned by land forces, a last attempt to dominate the oceans using weapons capable of altering the planet itself. This is where the final season delivers its most powerful twist. The sea does not counterattack. Instead, it withdraws completely, leaving land forces to confront the consequences of their own weapons. Systems fail, climates destabilize, and humanity realizes too late that the greatest threat was never the ocean but its own refusal to listen. In the aftermath, survivors rebuild not on dominance but on coexistence, learning to live with the sea rather than above it. The closing moments of the final season are hauntingly beautiful. Children play near calm shores. Cities are smaller, quieter, and closer to nature. The ocean remains vast, mysterious, and watchful, not as an enemy but as a reminder. The war between land and sea does not end with a clear winner. It ends with understanding and a warning that balance once broken is never easily restored. If you made it this far, you truly understand the depth of this story, and I want to hear from you. What do you think about the ending? Did humanity deserve a second chance, or was the sea too merciful? Drop your thoughts in the comments because your voice matters here on Watchdog TV. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the final season, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Watchdog TV for more powerful stories and breakdowns, and share this video with friends who love epic narratives and thought-provoking endings. Thank you for watching, and remember, the greatest wars are not fought for territory but for understanding.